Right. So welcome everybody to this webinar about Insight Timer. I'm really excited to learn alongside you because, well, I don't know about you, but I've heard about Insight Timer for years. And comment below if you've known about it for some time or did you just learn about it? Because, I first learned about it just based on the fact that a lot of my clients were starting to tell me, oh yeah, I use Insight Timer to listen to, we use guided meditations or listen to certain calming tracks to even help me fall asleep, etc. And then my wife recorded something for Insight Timer. She wasn't intending to, set up a presence there or whatever, but she had a request, or maybe she just had this idea of recording a guided meditation for her client. My wife's a therapist, and she decided to put it on Insight Timer because she herself, my wife, uses Insight Timer, and she put it on there. And then, without doing any marketing, her track got thousands of listens and like dozens of reviews. And she's like, I'm not a marketer. My husband's a marketer. I'm not. I didn't even help her. I didn't share it at all. I just went, oh, that's cute. And, she, and I'm like, Insight Timer, pay attention. And not only that, I also had clients over the years tell me, George, I uploaded something to Insight Timer, and suddenly I got a bunch of, people asking me, reviewing my work and all that. I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, I have to find somebody who knows something about this and share this method with everyone. And so I'm so grateful that Claire, I met Claire. I met Claire through some of my courses, and I'm like, Claire, you're such a great participant. Like, you're such a great, I mean, I just noticed she was always giving insightful comments in courses and things. And then I also noticed that Claire talked about being on Insight Timer. And so I started to pepper Claire with questions about it. Like, Claire, how did it go? How's it going for you? I'm like, oh, you got a lot of your clients doing Insight Timer. This is interesting. And I went to check out Insight Timer and Claire's profile, and seeing that she has dozens or maybe hundreds of reviews. I don't know. And so I'm like, okay, Claire, can you please teach me and my clients how to set ourselves up on Insight Timer? Like, what is it? Who is it for? How should we think about the strategy, et cetera, et cetera. And that's where this webinar came into being. So Claire, without further ado, I know you have a lot of great material, so I want to just turn it over to you and let you share what you've got in mind. And please, throughout the webinar, folks, again, welcome to you. If you haven't yet said hello in the chat below, please do tell us where you are in the world and how did you hear about this from me, from Claire. Just we're curious. And any questions you have, along the way, I will be paying attention to the questions. For once, I get to actually read the chat while I'm here on a webinar, and then Claire will be focused on the material she has for us. So thank you so much, Claire, for doing this. I'll let you take it away from here.
Well, thank you, George, for giving me this opportunity really to connect with your audience and also do something alongside you because I've been learning from you for a while. And I'll be honest, folks, the people who've come in through me and maybe haven't come across George has changed my relationship with my business on an epic scale. So I highly recommend keeping in touch with George and finding out what he's got to say about business because it's really been very impactful for me. So I've got some slides, once a teacher, always
Great.
a teacher. So I'm gonna unpin you, George, so
Yes. Yeah.
unhighlight you. And then I'm gonna share some slides with you all. Here we go. So hopefully we can see those. It'd be good if I can see a few people. Just give me somebody, Stephanie, Claire. Yeah, Claire's giving me thumbs up. Marvelous. I know definitely that you can see it. Brilliant. So I called it Insight Timer for Impact and Income because I think it gives you both. It's been really powerful for me. We've had a bit of, are you familiar with Insight Timer? And quite a lot of people in the chat seem to be. A lot of you may well have used it personally over the years. I think I came across it years and years ago, and kind of used it intermittently, but never on a very consistent basis until I was introduced to it by another business coach a few years ago and started to create some content on there. When I first started out, in fact, I'll hide that for a minute. When I first started out, I was just doing some lives on social media. and I just took the audios of those lives, these little talks about the three principles, and I just started uploading them onto Insight Timer. And so I ended up with quite, you'll see if you go to my content on Insight Timer that I have got a lot of little talks on there, short free talks in the free category. And I was getting this little paycheck of about 20 something dollars, 30 something dollars a month. Oh, that's quite nice. Um, and I sort of dipped in and out of it. I did quite a few lives on there. And then in early, maybe spring of 2023, I thought there's got to be more to this place, Insight Timer, because I hear that people are making quite a good income on there. They're getting clients from there. What am I not doing that other people are doing? So I really started to dive deep into my own strategy, what I was doing on there, what as opposed to what other people were doing on there. And I have carried on with that over the last few years, and as a result, kind of deepened and deepened my own strategy on that journey. So that journey over the last couple of years has brought me to here. So my followers have, as you can see, multiplied massively. I don't have that many followers anywhere else in the world, other than on Insight Timer. And as George mentioned, I've done that without any external promotion of my Insight Timer stuff. That has all come organically through the app. So that's mind blowing, isn't it? Because it seems like on social media, perhaps we have to make quite a lot of effort to increase our following. We've got to kind of be very, we've got to turn up. I do turn up on the social media, and I will be talking later about how to kind of bring the two together, really. As you can see, I have honestly shared that figure that I clicked on today that's on my dashboard. That is how much money I have earned directly from the app in that couple of years. Before that, I was earning the odd few quid here and there, but most of that's been in the last couple of years. My attendance on lives. So some of you may well do lives on other social media platforms, and you might get the odd person and their cat turn up. And that's what it's like for me as a rule. Few people watch my lives, but when I do them live on Insight Time, I get a really lovely audience of people, and they are so interactive. They comment. They're coming with the kind of issues that I like to help people with. So it's perfect. Um, it's a lot of fun. They are a lovely, genuinely heartfelt audience. Like I've cried many, I mean, I've cried live on LinkedIn to be fair, but I've cried many a time on an Insight Timer live just because of the connection you feel in the room, even though the people, you can't see them, they're just on comments, but there's a really deep connection, even at that level, which is lovely. Lots of coaching conversations from Insight Timer, more than I've had from anywhere else. And I get a lot of really, really lovely reviews. So on the next slide, I'm kind of sharing a few of those. You can just have a quick glance at them. This is just a tiny, tiny handful. As George says, there are thousands of these. I have sat and responded to these with tears. I'm a middle-aged woman, crying's part of the thing. With, tears streaming down my face because I've had people message me and say, things like, you've kept me sane while I've been going through a really difficult period of my life. You're the one who's kept me going, that kind of thing. I mean, it's just so powerful. And for me, this is part of the service that I see as very important in what I want to share with the world. And that is that I can touch people and impact on people and provide transformation for people here who some of whom will not be able to work with me. So it's kind of got the two levels here. You've got the people who might just be able to afford an Insight Timer premium membership a year, and they wouldn't ever be able to pay me for coaching. So it feels like a very broad community work. So it's really, really powerful in that regard. So there's a few more of those lovely words here. But it's lovely to, I wake up every day to these messages. And for many of us, we'll never see that on social media. People might say something nice, but the depth to which people share their transformation here is really, really profound. And these words are public, so I'm not sharing anybody's private information. These are public on the app. If you go to one of my tracks on the app, um, you can actually see those reviews underneath my tracks when the app decides to let me in. Slowly but surely. So if you go to me if you search for me as a teacher, some of you hopefully have got the app on your phone because it'll be easier to see. You can actually see these reviews are actually under the tracks themselves. So if I go to a track here, you can see the reviews are underneath the track. Anger, my most popular track on Insight Timer, I have to tell you, bit concerning. But anyway, hopefully I'm helping to remove some of the anger from the world. So why would you be here? Why would you want to teach on Insight Timer? Because because you're excited to share your message with 30 million people, 30 million people who are not just passively scrolling while they're eating the tea and watching Emmerdale. That's just for the British people here, or some other TV show. They're actively seeking guidance, healing, and presence. They really are on a journey of transformation already. They already know there's something they'd like to improve in their lives. Um, you can repurpose your content. So, like I said, when I first started, they were just videos that I had on other platforms that I got the audios of and put onto Insight Timer. So it wasn't a lot to do to get started. Um, you can grow your presence really gently. There's not that kind of pressure, urgency, or algorithm. There's no algorithms. It's a search-based platform. So Insight Timer is when people find you, they find you through your content. So they might search for overwhelm or stress or anxiety or sleep, and they will find your content through actually searching. Um, and it can be part, like for me, it's now connecting really beautifully because I've got over my problems with social media through working with George and listening to George, and I now do both, but in a really aligned way. So I can kind of choose a theme and I can put that theme onto Insight Timer and I can create through my other content and create courses and other content on Insight Timer to go together. So um and seeing the impact like you've seen from the words I've just shared is so, so powerful. So why Insight Timer? Because, like I've already said, people are already seeking help. They go with a subject in mind. So they go very laser focused a lot of the time. Sleep anxiety and stress are the three most popular subjects, which I'm sure many of you here have the ability to help people with. They're already on a spiritual journey and they're already ready to listen, which not everybody out there is. You can get connected really easy with your ideal clients, and there's a really nice system on Insight Timer in that when you actually share some new content, your followers get told about it, which is not the same as everywhere else. So when you go to the teachers tab at the bottom of the home screen here, you go to my teachers and I can see the teachers that I follow. Hopefully you can see that. I can see all the things that they've shared recently. So if I want to go see what one of those, I'll see that one of those teachers has shared a new track or shared a new live, and it's very easy then to see what your teachers have done. And when you go live on the app, on the home screen, there is a place where you can see who's live now, which is great because when you go to the teachers menu, for some reason I can't find it right now. They make when you go to the menu, you can see who's live. Why can I not see it today on the home screen? I can't see it right now for some reason because I've flicked about too much on the app and it's not being my friend. But your people who aren't already following you, they get to see your live even if they don't follow you. So somebody who's dropping into the app who just wants to connect in a community rather than just listen to a track on their own, they can go to a live. And I often get new people through my lives. I notice when I've done a live, I get a big increase in my following. And you can easily share what you've created on Insight Timer to other platforms. Go on, George. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you might make me a co-host and I can unmute myself.
Yeah, that'd be a good
Um,
idea.
yeah, so yeah, we it's hard to see your screen, of course, because since your slides are main and your video is tiny. But what I could do, if it would be helpful, is I could join the webinar through my phone as well, and I could share my screen on if you want to show us around anything. So
Okay, right.
yeah, but yeah, no, that's so far so good. I want to appreciate everyone who is chatting below and sharing what's resonating with you, any questions you have. Like I saw Angela had asked a question and Zia had answered it. So thank you so much. Zia shared that, that she's noticed it's Insight Timers where a lot of people are more comfortable going deeper. So it's more open and authentic than social media. So it's wonderful. Yeah. And
Yeah, for some reason it won't
mhm.
let me make you a co-host. It'll only let me make you a host. Which is
Oh yeah, no worries. No worries at all.
super unhelpful. I don't know why it's not doing that today.
Yeah, no worries. But if you want, I can join the webinar through the phone and I can share the screen if you want to show anything
Yeah.
else. But
Okay.
but
Thank
but I
you.
feel like, and I was able to see when I clicked on teachers, I was able to see the teachers that are
Yeah.
live,
Thank you.
the
For some reason
live
it
teachers.
disappeared off my screen.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean every app, they're always rolling out new features or whatever. So who knows, maybe you have some testing that they're doing.
Yeah, they move
Yeah,
things around every so often, but
yeah,
that definitely works in terms of connecting to new people because I know all the time I get new people who've just people are coming for community. I think that's one of the things about Insight Timer. Often people want to, they want to actually meet some new people or connect to people who are like-minded. So that's why they'll come in on a live. Um,
yeah,
and just
yeah.
to be with another person who can answer their questions when they're feeling stuck rather than just listening to something. So it's a
Right.
really
Yeah,
great part of it.
yeah. Great. Well,
Cool.
I'll stay unmuted. I don't think there should be any background noise, so
No,
I'll
cool.
let you continue. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks, George. Right, let's go back to here. There we go. So getting paid on Insight Timer. There's a little bit about that. So Insight Timer is what's called a freemium model. Um, so it means that there is a free aspect to Insight Timer. So somebody can open an account, join the app, and go start, listening to content. And there's an awful lot of free content on Insight Timer. Somebody could probably keep themselves developing and and relaxed and whatever else they're looking for on Insight Timer without ever paying a penny. There are some aspects of Insight Timer, however, that you cannot access until you go through the paywall. And those are courses and premium tracks. And the expectation is that those two elements, if you're a creator, have to be at a higher quality. And obviously, a course has to be more than one track. It has to be at least two tracks, at least 5 minutes each. And they have to take people on some kind of journey, even if it's quite a short journey. So you get paid per play. So you get paid a certain level for the free content, and then you get paid a higher level, obviously quite a significantly higher level for any premium content that you create. You can also get and with a course, they don't have to finish the course. You get paid for every lesson they listen to as long as they listen to at least 2 minutes. So I mean, generally courses are quite good because there's an additional payment for return rate in that. So Insight Timer rewards you if the person comes back to the app the next day off the back of your track. So they listen to your track, they come back the next day, you get a return rate bonus. So when I was looking at my most recent statement, it's quite a big return rate bonus on the courses because obviously on a course somebody does keep coming back. So it's important to definitely have some courses in your content strategy. You can get donations when you go live. They are just whimsical. That is the word for them. They just sometimes happen and they sometimes don't. We've now got promotional cards on the lives, which means you can click a button and the donate button actually comes up in the chat. And you can also put your promote your courses in the chat. And if somebody becomes a premium subscriber off the back of clicking on your course, because they want to do your course because they've been to your live, which is free, you get paid $10 for that. So that's just started. We just started the promotional cards maybe about a month ago, so that's quite new. If you're a person who runs retreats, you can actually now promote your retreats and sell your retreats with a little commission to Insight Timer through the app. That seems to be increased. There's a lot of retreats on there now. Obviously, you can connect with potential clients. I have clients booking with me on a regular basis for discovery calls and things. And there are more ways coming soon. So Insight Timer are they're a great company to work for. Don't feel I'm working for them, but on a number of levels, they're a lovely group of people to work for. They're always developing new ways for Insight Timer to support the teachers. I think their aim is for you to be able to run your whole business from there if you want to. And so they're always looking at new ways. They were talking recently about having some kind of subscriptions where somebody could subscribe to you and get extra content, and they would just take a little commission off that. There's all sorts of new things coming on all the time. I really value them, and their customer support are the nicest people ever. They, even when they're telling you off. So I had a little email about my lighting. I've got a massive new ring light now, but my lighting for my lives, I got a bit of feedback about that. And they just, we love so much all the lives you're doing, and we're so grateful for everything. But could you just make your lighting a bit better? They are like the best parents, they're so lovely and supportive.
They probably listen to your anger tracks.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Yeah, so that it's a genuinely lovely place to be and to be connected with, definitely.
A couple
So
questions, Claire,
yeah,
if that's
cool.
okay,
Let me stop
about
the share and let's hit the
yeah,
questions.
okay. So and I know that there are questions coming through, and I'll try to slot them in at the
Yeah.
appropriate times in the session. But let's talk about, well, first of all, the fact that you're getting clients through Insight Timer is very interesting. Clients for your work. I mean, for
Yeah.
your, it's not just Insight Timer clients, meaning they buy your Insight Timer tracks or whatever, but like they actually start working with you
Yeah.
as a service provider. I think that's
Hmm.
very interesting for people, because that's, yeah, it's great. It's another channel, right? um, and so, question: do you make money from Insight Timer even when people listen to your free content, your free tracks?
You do.
Thank you, Val, for that
Yeah.
question. You do, right? Like
So
if
I
enough
met
people listen, that you get a few pennies per listen or whatever.
Yeah, so I had a look today because it varies because it depends on how much income they got. It's like a distribution model.
Yeah,
So
it's
you're
like
getting a
they're
chunk
profit
of the
sharing.
pie
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
So the free tracks 0.009 of a dollar per play.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, obviously that builds up to a few pounds if you dollars if you're everything's in dollars on there. If over time. Premium tracks, however, you get 15 cents a play.
Mm.
So that's quite a
So
lot when you think about the multiples of
yeah.
plays. When you're talking
So
about
the
30 million people using the app.
right 30 million. Yeah. So the action step is to upload 2 to 5,000 tracks a day if you can. Try to go towards the 5,000 tracks a day if you can upload that. And premium tracks, you don't have to upload as many. Upload just 100 to 500 tracks a day. I'm kidding, guys. All right, I need to work on my humor and stuff. But people are
I
like
get it, George.
people
I
are
get
like
it.
writing furiously. Oh my God, I got to get going and uploading tracks. So question from Sophie: can you promote your courses and workshops and retreats that are not on Insight Timer on Insight Timer? So if I'm,
So
yeah,
yeah, so at the moment, the only thing you can promote is a retreat through Insight Timer. I think there's going to be more capacity for other things coming. At the moment, those retreats have to be in person, but already there's been one development. They had to include accommodation, and now they don't have to include accommodation. And I was on a meeting because I'm quite an active user. I've been invited to some little secret meetings. And on one of those, there was a lady who who, like me, runs her entire business online, and she was asking um, about whether there would be online retreats coming, um, and then they've said yes. So at some point, you will be able to promote um, an online retreat as well. So
mm, yeah,
and as I say, have some kind of subscription where you'd be offering content that was more exclusive. So like the Substack model, those obviously George, I learned about Substack from you and the other teachers you brought on board for that. It'll be moving. It'll be kind of split between the distribution model and a bit more of a Substack model where you'll be able to. But that they're a small team, so each little development takes a little while.
yeah.
Nothing ever quite comes out on the time that they say it's going to come on, but it
It's
does
already
come
very
eventually.
developed. I mean, there's so many features already, even for teachers, you know. And so, yeah, I think there's more than enough, in my opinion, to explore and use right now. But to finish that question, it is important not to promote things in your, at least your free and maybe your premium tracks. I learned
Yeah,
that the hard the hard way, because I had uploaded a track, a free track in my case, where it just mentioned my website, and they caught that and they wouldn't let me publish the track. So I had to go back and edit out the mention of my website. I
Yeah.
even said, oh, you could just Google this blog post for me. Some of you know my energy reboot. I always tell people to Google it. They wouldn't even let that through. So what I've noticed as a teacher, I'm like a fledgling. I'm, just getting started, complete newbie on Insight Timer as a teacher. But I've noticed that they have far higher quality controls than any other platform I've worked with, which means that you need to step up and provide that kind of quality. But secondly, it also means that's why there are the people on the users go much deeper and feel much safer and engage a lot more with the app, because everything there is so much higher quality than everywhere else. So
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm just going to pick, there's a question come up about your website, because obviously you couldn't verbally mention your website on a track. However, when you set up your profile, you have one precious link, as I like to call it, a precious link that comes underneath, sits underneath your bio. So at the moment, I have a little gift, a little ebook, and in the bottom of my bio, I've been allowed to say, for more on this, you can click on the link below, and I do get sign-ups to my list via that link. So that, and also they can go directly to my website. So the promotional non-promotion thing is doable and lives are the best place to do it. So on a
okay, so
on
you
a
can
yeah.
promote during a live.
Well,
Well,
so
no,
this is
wait,
how you do
sorry.
it. So, for
Okay.
example, somebody asks a question in the chat, and you say, "This is the kind of question I like to work on with my clients," or "This is the kind of work I do all the time." So, you're just sort of slipping it in, because otherwise, you're just a teacher on Insight Timer, and they're not really getting the sense that you do this work other than on Insight Timer, because there are some people who've got tens of thousands of followers who are, that's it, it's their full-time income. They pretty much work on Insight Timer most of the time and don't do a lot of private work. Um, so yeah, but you can do it that way subtly. Not, but if you get too giddy with it, they will smack your hand. But they smack it so nicely. They're so polite about it. They really are polite about it.
So I'm sorry, they also vet the live content?
They have only recently started doing that,
Okay.
actually.
Yeah.
I think because now there is an increased potential to earn from the lives, because
Ah,
we can use these promotional cards. We can, if people sign up, they through our lives, if somebody signs up to our course and becomes a premium member, we get paid something for that. So I think they are now. It's been the one element where they haven't really done a lot of monitoring, just because capacity wise, I don't think the team have got capacity for it. But they recently have given some feedback, and they've also, like, alongside the feedback, they've sent videos and stuff of one of the teachers talking about how to do a live, and the best practices and things like that. So they are really keen to have a high quality of things going on there. So it's
yeah.
really
Good.
yeah, it's really
And
good.
just to clarify, Angela asked, if you can't add your website, how do people contact you? No, you can add a website. You can't
Yeah,
talk about the
on
website.
your profile.
You can't mention the website in your tracks or things. You can't. In other words, the product itself, when they're listening, they don't want users to think, oh, I'm listening to this wonderful track or what. And to go to my website, they don't want that.
No.
But they're fine with users then looking you up as a teacher profile, and then on your profile there's a link to your website or wherever you want to send them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So there's a few questions that are coming up now that are already answered in the
yeah,
presentation. So I crack on
I'm
with the
not
presentation bit, and
bringing up
then
the follower question yet, because obviously we're going to talk about that as we go on. Yeah.
yeah.
Let
So
you
I'll
continue.
I'll crack on with the presentation for a bit, and then we'll pick up as many questions as we can
Great.
after that. So off we go. So other things you can do on the app. you can host a group. I'm not particularly, there are some groups that seem to be a little bit active, but it's not a big thing and it's not a Facebook group. So it's not got the capacity. You could have a play around with that, is what I would say. I think that's one thing about Insight Timer. It's a really great place to experiment in a lovely, safe space where people are genuinely pretty nice. I clearly have some low star reviews, but those people don't say anything. Which is, generally they don't leave words. Apart from one woman who gave me a one-star review and said that she didn't speak English very well and therefore my track really hadn't worked for her. But Insight Time were great and did remove that review for me because clearly it's not my
Oh.
fault if somebody doesn't speak English, is it really? So there we go. That was
Well,
fun.
that's good to know that they have that kind of customer service. That's really amazing because
Yeah.
most platforms, if you get a bad review, including Google reviews, good luck. You'll never be able to
Oh,
remove it
absolutely.
from your public presence. And also, just the FYI, the vast majority are positive reviews. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, they are. Yeah, so obviously you can get clients, you can get reviews, which are lovely. You can make friends. I've never really used that facility very much, and you can make an impact. And very excitingly, you can track your data. And for a sad old geek like me, there's nothing quite like it. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that by sharing my dashboard with you, which I always call my back end for some reason. I don't know why I do that. But there you go. Here we go. Here's Claire's back end. So this is the dashboard. Absolute font of marvelous information.
they
Um,
do. It's the dashboard is really amazing. I think that's like
it's
just like
nothing like
everything
it.
Inside Timer does. It's quality. Yeah,
High quality. So you can very quickly see your total plays. So my target at the moment is to get this up to 2,000. And it's
and this is
crept up
30
a lot.
days only. Yeah.
Yeah. New followers, your average rate, and you can change it up here. You can see what happened on different days. So if you want to see how effective your lives have been, you could quickly look at that from the day before. Um, you can see everything.
Wow.
So yeah, look at all those people. I mean, that just
Almost 5,000 ratings. That's That's
it's
nowhere
crazy.
else have I ever
No,
seen that
in
kind
the
of
world.
number.
It's
Yeah,
amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah.
So you can very quickly. This gives you a little update of what's been approved and stuff down here, and also this is where you would see your feedback if something had got, wasn't quite up to scratch. This is where you can see your revenue. There is that figure, and you get a
Yeah.
statement each month from them, which highlights how the overview of that. So this is my course area. I do have 61 courses. So I think you make a lot of courses, George. But let's just be
Not
very
61
clear
though.
about what a course is. It can be, some of my courses are very, very short. They're 5 lessons and they're 5 minutes per lesson. So, when you say a course on other platforms, you might think that's something enormous. But interestingly, my overwhelmed course is my most popular course. So a lot of people are overwhelmed at the moment. And I can see how many students have done this course, how many questions have been asked, the ratings and the average ratings. So my courses are all really, they all have like really good ratings. Um,
I'm sorry, you may have just said it. How long is each course of yours?
they can vary, they vary. So my longest one is this one here, the 21 days to feel calm and think clearly. They vary between, I think my shortest one is probably 5 lessons, and my longest one is that 21-day one.
And
And
how long is each lesson?
it varies. So my shortest, they cannot be less than 5 minutes, the
Okay.
lessons.
Yeah.
Um, and up to, I think my longest lessons are probably about 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. So just
Yeah.
short lessons. A course can
Yeah,
be a total of something like half hour of content. Yeah.
absolutely. It's not a
Yeah.
lot. It's not a lot. Yeah, so it's and that each course has a course classroom, so you can go in and you can see questions that people have asked. And then this is a lovely facility here, is the ability to answer these questions with an audio note. So I
Hmm.
can do that, in the car on my phone. I can do it when I'm out and about. It's really quick to answer a question. And I prefer that to typing because I think I can give something much more authentic. And it seems to me that if I say on the end of that, if you wanted to talk about this further, please reach out to me. I have never been pulled up for saying that. So I think that's another place where we can connect to people. Also, the other thing you can do here is obviously you can suggest another course. There's definitely something about a strategy where you connect your content. So I've got one course, it's like a foundational three principles course, and each lesson points to another one of my courses. Um, so I mention, oh, and by the way, if you want to deepen your, I think one of my lessons is on relationships, and I say if you want to deepen your exploration of relationships, you can dive in further with this other course. So on a lot of my courses now, I do suggest other courses I'm going through, and I do have some people who literally, I think they've done every one of my courses. Some people, once they've got into the flow and found some
How
benefit.
much is each course? What's the range of pricing you can put?
Well, they're all pay per play. So you still get paid your 15 cents per lesson. So it's still pay per play. So it's
So users don't pay additional for courses. They pay
no,
for
no,
the
no.
premium membership, and they can
Yeah,
take as many courses as they want to.
absolutely. And
Okay.
that's one of the ways in which I promote it on my lives because I say, well, you can pay £7.99 for an Audible membership and get one book, and you pay less than that per month for an Insight Timer membership, and you've got access to some of the most powerful spiritual teachers on the planet. Mooji's on here, Davaji, like some quite famous people. Sarah Blondin's on here. So there's some quite huge teachers on here.
Clare Downham's
Um,
on here, I heard.
Oh yeah, she's all right, I've heard. Uh, yeah, so there's a real that I there's a it's really quite an easy sell to encourage people to join. Um,
Quick question about courses. It's basically audio. It's not video, is
no
it?
video, no.
Okay.
The only
It's
thing that's
all,
video is the
yeah.
lives.
The
That's
lives are video. The lives
yeah,
are video.
just live.
Uh, and can you do live audio or just
No, no, that's video. Yeah,
okay?
everything is audio apart from
The
the
live, which is
lives,
video. And
which
then
is the
can
video.
you add other things like PDFs to the courses or just the
Not at the moment. So that's one of the
just
things that they've suggested might come on board in the meeting that I went to earlier this
okay.
year.
Okay.
And that was that while somebody's listening to your track, or at the end of listening to your track, or through your course, there'll be a little pop-up thing that offers them. So, for example, if you've suggested you might want to journal, or you might want to go deeper on this subject, you will be able to sell something that goes with that journey. That's like, I think that'll take a while because that to me seems quite technical in terms of what they'll have to do with
Yeah.
the app and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was one of the suggestions that was made that that's something that's coming on board. I think that could be really cool in terms of an income from Insight Timer. If you can start making PDFs and additional things for people to buy where you just pay a little commission to Insight Timer.
So what's the difference between courses and premium tracks?
So in terms of pay per play, the same price, but the
Right.
difference is a course has to be a sequence. So a
Okay.
course has to have at least two lessons in it, at least 5 minutes per lesson. A
Okay.
premium track can just be a
It's just a single
meditation
track.
or a
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
Um, and it's important in terms of strategy to have a range of these things. So I think I glanced at somebody in the chat had asked about what about against free tracks and premium tracks, what should you have more of? So I'm playing about with this at the moment. I've recently done quite a deep dive into my content and done quite a good analysis and compared myself with another teacher who I know is doing very well financially because he shares it publicly, um, and discovered that I had a gap in my content, and my gap was repeat play content.
Mm.
So my talks, my three principles talks, generally people will only listen to those once. Some people say, I'm going to do this course again, but we all say we're going to do things and don't do them. But some people probably do my courses again. But those tracks that are like, for me, repeated reminders that people can go back to, more like meditations, were missing from my content. And that's where my content strategy, where I've been really working on it recently, and strategy and stuff like that's like I'm an actual geek on stuff like that. So my total plays was around 1,400 like a month or so ago, and it's nearly now at 1,700. And that's because of the change in strategy. So this is the great thing about this platform in terms of the data, is that you can start to see what's working and you can do more of that. So I'm off on one now on data, folks. I'm sorry, you just have to go with it. Um, so these are my free tracks here. Um, so what you can do here is you can look at the subjects that are landing with people. So as I said, flipping anger is top of the list. So what I've done now is I've gone through and started making meditations on these subjects, and I've made them in different time ranges. So when you go to the app on Insight Timer, when you go to the app and let me just stop my screen sharing. Oops. When you go to the app and you go to choose a track, so my library. When I go to search, let me just search for a subject like overwhelm. When you go to tracks at the top, you can then choose a length of time. So I can choose from one of these time ranges here. So what I've started to do is I've started to create content. What I'm noticing is these top four time ranges are popular. So the 0 to 5 minutes, the 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20. People haven't got time to meditate for longer than 20 minutes. So I'm not making so many in the 21 to 30 or the 30 minutes plus. I've got a few tracks in that range, but I'm using the data I've already got on subjects that I know are landing with people to create more content, to create more repeat play content in those subjects. So that's really what you can do as you start to create content, is you can really get your teeth into some phenomenal data and build a strategy from that is sharing the content you love, sharing the things you really care about, but really hitting those things that you know people are looking for.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So let me go back
Great.
to it's
Yeah.
powerful.
So yeah, I want to make sure you communicate all the key things that you wanted to share. But yeah, we have a couple of questions that we probably should touch on before the end. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. So you can see my ratings and reviews here. So I go in here so a couple of times a week I go in here. I love these, the 4-star ones where they don't say what was wrong with it. Anyway, there's a few of those, not many. Um, and
You
then
you you need to work with your anger track. No.
yeah, I'm fuming. Um, so then you can see your donations. As you can see, these are sporadic. They're not, but you always say thank you. Oh, and ratings reviews, you need to say thank you because you're connecting to people all the time here. That's the other thing. You're just connecting with people all the time, which on a really lovely level, which is great. So free tracks where you can see what's going well. You can get them in order and you can quickly see subjects that are landing. These are my premium tracks. So again, you can kind of start to see how well they're doing. So I've not made as many premium tracks recently. I've really upped my game with this, so these will start to go up soon. This is where you can post your retreat. I do not have a retreat. My business is online here and in my motorhome, so currently no retreats. This is where you book your live events in. And this is the promotional card thing I was telling you about. So you can create a course. So I've got some course cards, I've got a make a donation card, and you can create cards. So for example, you go live on a particular subject and you've actually made a course on that subject. You want to have the promotional card ready to go live, so people can click and join that course.
Can a promotional card be something outside of Insight Timer? Hey,
Oh,
go
no,
to my
no, no.
website. No, it's
No,
all
it's all
promoting
within.
in
Yeah,
Insight
yeah.
Timer. Got it. Okay.
You can, you can look at groups here. As I say, I don't really use the groups. Um, you can see your followers, and here you've got promotional gubbins. So you can actually create a widget now for your website. So there's some people who are building their whole business around Insight Timer on their website. They're kind of feeding people back to Insight Timer, and there's like play. You can embed now. So you can get an embed link and put that on your website,
Great.
which is great. You couldn't do that before, it's brand new. So not for live events, but for courses and stuff. So you can get the code and you can embed that. So I could put that course on my website, and that might encourage people to listen to my course, and obviously then I'll get paid per play for that. So let me just see if I've got much more on the presentation, because I want to make sure that we've got time for the questions.
Yeah, I got time for maybe one or two questions that are
Yeah.
quite common, but there are a lot of other questions that you have to chat log, so you can keep that for the follow-up course, the
Yeah,
follow-up course. And I
definitely.
want to make
Yeah.
sure you talk about that because obviously there's a lot here, and some of you who want to take the journey with Claire on learning how to be an effective teacher on Insight Timer should consider taking Claire's course. And
I shall
I
do.
think you should talk about what I think we yeah, you should reserve a couple minutes to talk about what's inside the course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So great. Below this, webinar, there's a link to Claire's course, and I think it's for those of you who are wanting to do this kind of in a community of peers and learn from each other, support each other. You might want to join Claire's course on that. Yeah. And thank
Thank
you,
you.
Ellen says highly recommend Claire's
Oh,
course.
lovely,
Yeah.
Ellen.
Thank you.
Bless her.
Great. Okay.
Um,
So go ahead.
yeah, last little bit of the oh, here we go. Let me get the presentation. So there's the course. Um, so how do you get started? It's really not that difficult. It's a form you fill in online. It's you go to that link. I think George, you've already put that link in the chat.
Yeah, I'll put
Yeah.
the link again. Yeah.
The image is where most people get scuppered. They are really because the only visual thing they can control is the images that appear on the site. They are quite keen for images to be clean, and your image of you needs to be a professional level image. Mine was done on my phone, so it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but it does need to be a good quality image. Um, and you need to have certificates for some things. You explore that when you go to fill in the form. Yoga in particular, anything physical where somebody could hurt themselves doing your stuff, you need to make sure you're properly qualified. They won't let you teach. But most other things, spiritual teachings and things like that, they're not looking for certifications. Your bio, which you write, which is you've got 1,500 characters for that now. It's gone up quite a lot. So you'll look at some bios and think, why they're so short? Well, because years ago it was shorter. Mostly about your client, a little bit about you, I say. Make sure your client, when they read your bio, knows that they're kind of in the right place. Your one precious link, which I've already mentioned, newsletter, gift, etc. And you can mention that at the end of your bio. And please go look at mine and use it as a template. I'm not precious about stuff like that, if it's helpful to you. And use AI to help because it's really good at stuff like that. And
Yeah,
then
and I have
what
to
you
say, I'm sorry, just real quick.
oh,
I used AI. I first submitted some images on my own. It didn't get approved. And I use AI to create very simply. I used AI to create the track images and it went through right away. One quick tip, you can take a screenshot, go to Insight Timer, set of current tracks that are popular or whatever, take a screenshot of it, feed it into AI and say, hey, similar to these images, create one for me on this topic or whatever.
oh, cool. That's really handy. So you create your first. You've got to create 2 free tracks to get started. They're the rules, and then get those tracks out to clients, friends, family, etc. for listens and reviews. It used to be that you had to kind of wait a little while then before you could do anything else, but it seems to happen a lot faster now. So as long as you've got 4.5 stars or above, you can then apply to go live. There is an application process for that, which involves checking your Wi-Fi and you doing a little video and checking your lighting and everything. And then you can also create premium content, premium tracks and premium courses. Um, I'm going for I've got too many free tracks. I have been starting to remove some that are not very well rated, because I've got too much free content. There's not much encouragement. People get a lot from me without the premium model. So I'm currently working on increasing my premium content quite dramatically. Courses are great for return rate, and definitely create, as I said before, create some content which is likely to be repeat played, something that people will go back to, whether that's a meditation or some kind of spiritual reminder or something like that. It's really helpful. So I will be sharing this list when I follow up with the recording and everything. These are the most popular subjects on Insight Timer long term. When you are creating titles and descriptions, you want to be littering it with these words because these words are the words that are searched the most. Like any other search, it's a search engine, remember? So these are popular words. Now, when you go to the library and click search, you get presented with the most the you can see trending topics. So if you're on it, you can be kind of creating more topics of the same. So here, I've actually searched for one to get rid of that. We've got belly breathing. Yeah, this is today's belly breathing, astrology, overthinking, self-acceptance, emotion. They're just appearing at the top.
Mhm.
So
And also remember, if you don't mind using AI, AI can help you fit in these words into
yeah.
whatever title you want, or maybe even create a title with all of these words, but have it make sense. No.
Yeah, on a daily basis, that is how I use AI to help me create content for Insight Timer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've looked at the dashboard now. Yeah, and it's a great place to experiment. I really do like experimenting with trying things, see which length of tracks are best. You can use the data to really develop things, and you can then use your Insight Timer content to create a book because that's what I've done, and I can teach you all about that too. Um, it says not for resale because it's just my copy to check that it's okay. But I used one of my Insight Timer courses, used AI, and it helped me to write a book. So there's so much potential for this kind of cross-pollination between all your other content and Insight Timer. The potential is yeah, infinite really. So you can develop a lovely intuitive strategy as part of your overall content rhythm, take a subject you talked about on social media, make an audio course, make a, take content exactly as it is, upload it onto Insight Timer as a talk. I use AI literally on a daily basis to help me with my Insight Timer creation. And on the course, I'll be sharing all my prompts and everything that I use to get AI to help me create courses from a transcript of something that I've spoken about. And so very authentic content because it's my voice transcribed and then rejigged and organized by AI. So I do a live, I record it, and I then use that to create a course. So by the structure of the course, which I then re-record nicely. Um, yeah, popular subject, make a meditation, take a course and share its content on social media. You just can keep going. So quickly about um, the Insight Timer Incubator. I'd absolutely love to take a group of people through this. So it's a 12-week program, but we're going to meet fortnightly to give you time to create in between. There's going to be, we're going to have these co-creation workshops when we work together and look at things, um, and an accountability all the way through. I'm gonna have a little Telegram group where we can connect with each other and I can keep you going and we can support each other. And it'll be a group, as you can see, the group of people here, people who connect with me and George, are all just lovely, aren't they, George? That's the truth
Oh,
of it.
yeah. The
So
best
they'll all be
people.
just lovely, lovely people that you can join with. So,
Yeah. Well, and I'll just say, I mean, I think the best the best description of your course are the people in the chat. Thank you, Gail, Jerry, Jackie, Michaela, others who are saying that Claire's course, I've taken it, it's amazing. Claire's very generous with support, sharing. So I think that's the best description of the course is the people who've actually taken it, your previous version of it. Okay, one question, because I know we were just at the top of the hour. One question that came up several times makes sense, and I know you're going to go into it a lot deeper in the course, is how do you grow on Insight Timer as from zero or from 7 followers or from whatever? How do you grow? And I'm putting you on the spot. It's such a short time to
yeah,
answer
yeah.
a very important question. Yeah.
So I'm going to use that good old word that we love, consistency. Turning up on a regular basis. I think lives are really powerful for growing your following. That's that, as I say, when people go onto the app, the teachers that are live are kind of presented to them. So if somebody is going in and they're just like, people go onto that app because they're feeling a bit discombobulated, they're not feeling okay. So they'll go into the lives to just find a space. I did
Mm.
one that was called The Confessions of a Recovering Control Freak the other day, and that was quite popular. So I'm kind of playing around with a bit of fun with my titles. And you can schedule, you have to schedule 48 hours in advance for the lives, but I'd recommend scheduling further ahead and having, again, those subjects with the keywords in, people looking at. Yeah, I have quite a lot of control freaks in my audience, including me, covering apparently. Yeah, so that, it's that's really powerful. And also just just keep creating and using those keywords so that people start to kind of find you on there because you're sharing content that they're looking for.
Great tips. I'm glad that this is recorded because we'll probably want to listen again to the last couple minutes. Quick question about the incubator, the course that you're teaching is are there recordings that people
Oh,
can't
yes, there'll
make?
be recordings,
Okay,
definitely. That
okay,
not only will there be recordings, but I'll be like today when there's been all these questions. What I'm hoping to do is keep answering the questions and making more little videos to go into the
for
course.
sure. Oh yeah,
Even if
I'll
we've only got an hour, I'll keep
totally. Yeah,
making it.
just I expect nothing less from Claire, and especially all the people who are saying that they've experienced Claire's support and teaching. And okay, well, God, my goodness, I do want to just respect your time, everyone's time. And I also need to go and I have an appointment as well. Thank you so much, Claire, for this. I hope, and thank you all for showing up for this. I know there are a lot of questions. I'm really grateful you wrote them down because Claire is going to be taking those and weaving that into the course itself. I hope you got a lot of value out of this free webinar. And I'm really grateful again that you showed up live for this because a lot more people signed up than showed up live. And those who are watching this recording, feel free to comment below if you have any additional questions. Like I said, I think Claire is going to be covering everything in the course. If Claire has time and availability to answer any particular question briefly, maybe I'll let you decide that, Claire. But
Mhm.
folks, please consider joining the actual paid course that has a lot more in-depth support and teaching and community for creating on Insight Timer. So thank you so much,
Yeah.
Claire.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much,
everybody.
George. Thank you, everyone. It's been an absolute
Yeah,
pleasure. And what I'll try and do is I'll try and answer some of those questions. It might not, my daughter's graduating this week, so I'm kind of wiped out for the rest of the week, but you'll get the recording. And then I might make another little video answering some of those questions just so you get all your questions answered. So thank you so much, all of you, for being here. And thank you, George. It's been an
yeah.
absolute pleasure to share this space with you. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much. And hopefully you got the link to the course. It's going to come in the reminder email as well. But Claire, I know you have well, anyway, I'll let you, yeah, I'll let you send that out and then people
Yeah, I've put
can
it in the chat a couple of times, but
put in
they'll
the
get a
chat. Yeah,
follow-up
great.
email. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Good. Okay. All right.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much, everybody. Take
Be
care.
well. Blessings.
Lots of love. Bye.